What are your price ranges?
Price ranges are compost. Pretty much all of our products, anywhere from $20 to $30 a yard. We do half-yard increments, soil blends, same thing. We also have custom blend services that we do. There's something that on-site that you don't see or that you can't find that you want. We're able to blend it up for you right there and get you exactly what you need.
Do you have Facebook, a website, and a phone number?
We don't have a Facebook currently right now. We are working on that. Our website is Recology, or it's OregonCompost.com. Sorry, just OregonCompost.com. And phone number is going to be 503-434-1671.
All right. He went to go get a bird feeder. He went to go get a bird feeder for what we're talking about.
AM 1260 KLYC. AM 1260 KLYC, going to be a busy day today, starting at 8:30 this morning to 9:30. Special time this week only for the garden show To the Root of It with our master gardeners from Oregon State University. Special time this week only because of the Linfield game, 8:30 to 9:30 this morning for To the Root of It. Also welcome a new sponsor, Recology Northwest Greenlands to The Root of It. 9:30 to the end of the game. Listen for live play-by-play of Linfield versus University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, live on AM 1260 KLYC. At the end of the Linfield game, listen for a live hour-long broadcast from the Bimart parking lot in McMinnville of the Stuff the Bus effort by Willamette Valley Medical Center. They'll have a bright yellow school bus in the Bimart parking lot today from 10 to 3. Bring non-perishable food items and new toys, and Santa and his elves will help you stuff the bus. Sponsored by Willamette Valley Medical Center. Listen today. A lot going on. AM 1260 KLYC.
And good morning. Welcome back to The Root of It right here on KLYC, your weekly gardening show. We are broadcasting live right now from Bimart, which is new, a new experience for us. All the same, fun. Right now we're going to get into some bird feeders. I've actually lost Ray. He went ahead and disappeared trying to go and grab some bird feeders and some bird seed. One of the advantages of doing a live shoot from a store is being able to go ahead and grab whatever you'd like and whatever you need. Because we can talk about and we can describe some of the pesticides or insecticides that we use in gardening, the composting, and things of that nature, but we can't necessarily go ahead and grab it and read off of the label right then. However, today, since we are here at Bimart, Ray can be gophered and sent out to go down to aisle. Right, exactly.
I like shopping.
Which is awesome. So you did go ahead and you brought us back a few things because it's winter time. The birds are still here. One of the things that I learned about when I met you was that there are geese that are, they're not migratory. They're here and they're all
live
around.
year-round because they have adequate food. They go down to the migratory bird sanctuary down by Rick Rial, and then they fly back and forth here in Yamhill County.
And those aren't the birds that we're going to be talking about feeding, though. However, I mean,
no.
I'll give you a chance to catch your breath there. I know that you went ahead and you just ran out there and came back. That was really fast to see you do that. But there are a few other things that we can talk about. I'm looking at this really nice, elaborate bird feeder. This is a dispenser. It's nice and it's copper, a long tube. Sticking out, and then everything always has these tops so that the squirrels can't get into it. Is that what that is? What is?
Well, it's supposedly to protect the feeder and the seed so that it doesn't get wet. It doesn't really do that. You need to put your bird feeder in a place where it's protected from the weather, unless it has a very large roof on it.
Mm-hmm.
I have one at home that's probably 18 inches across. It looks like an umbrella hanging in the tree. And it worked really, really well for keeping sunflower seed dry enough so that Mr. Squirrel would come down. And I didn't mind feeding the squirrel. He was pleasant to watch and very polite. And the chipmunk that was not so polite. He would stuff his mouth until he looked like he was smuggling a tennis ball.
Right? Isn't that amazing? It's like twice the size of their own head that they can just shove that stuff in there, and it's amazing. But why, You know, and I'm glad that we're talking about this topic, but what brought it to your mind? Were you out there cleaning the bird feeder and you're like, well, you know what, we should probably talk about some bird feeders?
Well, my neighbor lady has, she feeds birds and has several hangers with various kinds of seed. There's one for sunflower seed, there's one for thistle seed, there's one for mixed seed for songbirds.
Wow.
The larger seeds are for larger birds, jays, an occasional starling stops by, but the other neighbor lady has a cat. And it thinks
Wait, I think I know where this is going.
It thinks that this is a feeding zone.
Right.
Which it is, but not for the cat.
Right.
So every now and then I encourage Lolly to get some exercise.
Oh, so your dog is now the anti-cat system.
Yeah, Lolly likes being the bouncer at the bird feeding station. Unwanted.
Because every restaurant needs a good bouncer.
Yeah. And she takes her job quite seriously.
Yeah, I bet. And when you mentioned that your neighbor lady has all of these different kinds of has these different dispensers, there is an actual reason for that, because you can buy a bag of mixed seeds and you can throw that in your bird feeder, and you're hoping that any bird that comes along is going to have its choice, because some like the sunflower, some like the others. But what really happens is each bird only eats what they eat, and they'll go ahead and they'll toss the other down on the ground. It's just like they'll toss it away, so you're actually creating more waste.
Well, that's true to some degree. And what ends up happening is the seed on the ground is what brings the birds down to the cat's level.
Brings it down to the cat level, absolutely.
So you do have that rather ugly little dynamic that does go on out there in nature.
Right.
And I try to rationalize it that it's just nature's way of getting rid of the stupid birds. Cleaning up the gene pool, so to speak. I know that's wrong. That's
yeah.
But it eases my conscience.
You know, it's circle of life, right? Natural selection. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's the way it is. But maybe human, we give it a little bit nudge in that direction with our domesticated cats.
The one thing about feeding birds is once you start doing it, you really need to keep doing it all winter, because they learn quickly where food is, and they gather in large clumps, large flocks. They tell each other who's got the best seed, I'm sure. They go, oh, well, over there at so-and-so street, there's a big tub of sunflower seeds.
So if you go ahead and you take that food away,
then
they're wondering where that food is. They're expecting it to come back. Maybe they wait a little bit longer, and then before they have to go and search for it.
They're lost for a while.
Yeah.
Until they have to, fly around and search out another source of food. And once they get tired of you, it may take them a while to come back after you remember to fill the feeder. They're not that forgiving.
They're not that forgiving. Okay, well, let's talk about where you're going to locate this bird feeder. We touched on that briefly, but you want to keep it out of the rain, if at all possible.
This one would be excellent to hang on, like, the edge of a patio roof, where it wasn't too badly bothered by wind, and back a couple of feet from the drip line.
All right.
So that the seed does stay dry, because this feeder is specifically for small seed, such as thistle seed or mixed fescue or the small little round yellow seeds.
And the key is also when you're putting the planter up, we've talked about the cats. You want to make sure that it's not anywhere where the cats can actually climb up to and lurch from.
Right. You want it to be safe from hiding places.
Not on the fence, the wooden fence or something like that.
Well, not unless it's really like on a post on the fence, so that the cat's got to get up like 6 or 8 feet.
Yeah, and that's what's recommended. It is about 8 to 10 feet away from anything that can jump with that. So I guess that's apparently the jumping distance of everything out there.
Bounding and leaping.
Right.
Bounding, leaping, and pouncing.
But as far as what the food that you put in these what can often be elaborate, art decor things, you don't want to put any breads, salty or sugary snacks in there. Basically, any human food you don't want to feed to the birds because it's just unhealthy for them.
Moldy hamburger buns are not good for birds either.
See, I did not know that. That's why I would just usually go ahead and throw that stuff out there.
No, you don't want to feed them moldy food because sometimes they are susceptible to the molds and mildews.
Mm-hmm.
You want to try to avoid anything that's baked for humans because of the sugars. It's not the type of starch they like to digest.
Or that they can process.
Or they can process.
Right.
And it really doesn't help their health at all. You need high protein seeds because that's what birds eat.
Right, that's what they're normally eating.
Because they need the energy
mm-hmm.
To keep warm, keep flying. And
so the stuff that you're actually going to put in there, we've got a nice little package here that you decided to pick out from Audubon Park. It's premium quality. It says so right here on the package. It's 100% natural wild bird food. That's a heck of a label.
Well, this is actually, I think, thistle seed.
And this is thistle seed. I see a whole bunch of, what are those, finches there?
Yeah.
Golden finches.
Yep.
And so this is apparently what they're going after. And that's probably true because I had a whole bunch of, I had a thistle prairie basically in my front yard, and we went ahead and plowed that this year. Not as many of these finches out there.
No, this seed is for your smaller birds, your little titmice, the little blue guys that fly in flocks of I don't know how many.
I have yet to see one.
Oh, they're a hoot to watch.
Mm.
They especially like a good suet block because it's pure fat.
So it's a suet block, and you mentioned that, and I'm glad that you did because it's S-U-E-T.
Right.
Suet. But I could easily pronounce that as sweet.
Really?
It's a sweet block.
Well, they think so.
Right, exactly. I'm like, is that a funny way of saying it?
It's a one of the best energy sources for birds in wintertime, to have that fat because they need it in their system for insulation and for
so what's usually in those suet
health.
blocks? Those are just blocks of birdseed, right?
Well, there's birdseed mixed in with the animal fats.
Beef.
Yeah, and they will. Well, the little titmice that I started out to talk about, they're a very small bird. They're like maybe 2.5 inches long to not over 3 inches. They're little bitty guys, and they'll land on a suet block, and there will be 24 of them on the block. But when they leave, they all leave at once. So it's like they magically appear and then they magically disappear.
And I may have you actually go out, maybe go out and grab one of those suet blocks. Did you see any out there at the Weimar? And the only reason I say that is because it's we're going to jump into a break right now. But
you just want to see me run around the store some more.
I love it.
Okay,
it's so awesome.
Now I know where it's at.
Yeah, exactly.
It's back in that corner over there.
Because it's counterintuitive because I don't really see that many birds out there going ahead and delving into the cow, which is one of the ingredients that's in this. But
no.
Love to talk
it's well
about
processed.
It. Right now we're going to jump into a break. You have been listening to The Root of It right here.
And I'm off to the suet.
You're off to the suet. And we're going to go ahead and get into the news because that's the kind of show we are right now. We're at the top of the hour. You're listening to KLYC, Yamhill County. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Is that a netbook or is that... gardening. These people now know there's a gardening show. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that does look good. That looks good.
Okay.
Talk about, but we'll go from here and work our way that way.
Yep.
What else? Not build feeders out of plywood, but that's not where we are. We're talking about that stuff. It's a good topic, right?
Thank you. And we're back to the root of it. I'm just plumb tickled to have Northwest Greenland sponsors, because that's something that I totally believe in. And I know I lectured and preached all last fall about composting and mulching.
Mulching. That's your favorite word, mulching.
Mulching is my favorite thing to do, because it protects my plants, and next spring they're going to come up out of this pile of mulch, and they're going to be big and green and fluffy. And
well, everybody that's put in those that extra layer of mulch is reaping the benefits of it right now. I can tell you that.
No kidding. Yeah, you're going to have some happy plants come February when they come up out of this crust.
Yep. So Northwest Greenland's, yep, that was always nice to go over there. But let's get back to the bird feeding that we have right here.
Yep.
We were able to go run into the aisles and grab some more things, because you were talking about the suet, and one of the biggest things that people see and recognize, for me anyway, is like one of these. Well, the suet is this. What is it? Can you describe it for me? Because what I'm looking at here is something that you would buy at the grocery store.
Okay, well, this is rendered beef suet, millet, artificial berry flavoring, corn, and oats. The feed is actually buried in the suet, so they get both.
And the suet is just basically fat.
Is
rendered,
that what
it is?
Yeah,
it's
rendered
just
beef.
Fat.
This is rendered beef fat. This one is it's all beef fat.
Oh, and these are packaged well enough. They've got these cute little jaybirds on the front there, and they make this one right here, the Peanut Delight Suet.
Well, it actually
looks tasty.
Yeah.
It looks like peanut, like a peanut butter log or something like that. It is,
and please don't let your children eat it.
No,
it's
I couldn't
for
even
birds.
imagine. It has, I guess I'm looking at the guaranteed analysis: crude protein, about 10%, crude fat, 20%, and crude fiber is about 4%. But that crude is probably where you could run into a lot of dangers if you try and eat this stuff yourself. However, for the birds that are out there, this gives them all of an extra layer of fat. It's giving them.
That's why the 25% fat is because it helps them insulate and it's a primary energy source for them. And I'm not sure it comes in all kinds of flavors. I mean,
It sure does, and
Does a
because the discerning bird palate,
here's berry treat,
right, which
Yes.
comes in that purple package.
and peanut delight.
Yes. And honestly, if I were going to eat one, it would be the peanut delight. However, I don't believe that the birds
No.
are
No.
into that. This isn't probably another example of marketing where we try and put our human feelings and emotions onto
Right.
a
Nutty treat
bird.
suet.
That's what you want.
It sounds like Christmas candy.
Right.
Yeah, not so much going to happen.
But this is one of the things. I don't even know how you would dispense this because I'm looking at a block of fat. Right, so
Well, here's the handy dandy, and these come in all different sizes, and they have little chains to hang them from the tree, and it's a little gated fence, and the birds land
so
on
it's
the
a
fence.
square. It's a green square, almost the size of a sandwich plastic container.
Just a touch larger than the block of suet.
So it's
that,
like a 6 by, well, let's say
Yeah,
4 by
six-
4. 4 by 4. We'll go with that. Green.
Yeah.
And it is a wire basket that you just stick this block of fat in, and the birds just go ahead and pick through the open wire there.
This is the easy fill suet basket. Yeah, it just pops open. It's got little snap hooks on it, and here's this little chain to hang it from a limb. When I lived over in our other house, I had a couple of these hanging up there, and it would be gone in like about 2 days during the really serious cold weather.
Really?
They would peck it right down into a pebble, and the pebble would fall out the bottom, and then they'd clean her up.
You know, if I cared to have birds around my property, this looks pretty interesting because it seems like the birds are just going to flock right to it, know
Well, they
exactly
do.
what it is, and,
They really
and that's
do.
how you're going to get them to show up. However, it also looks like it is the price of a value meal at a fast food restaurant.
Well, it also draws
With
a
the
wide
same-
variety of birds. You'll be
same,
surprised at
calories.
the variety of species that dine on these things. All
Right.
your downy woodpeckers, red-headed woodpeckers, what's the other one? Acorn woodpeckers, jays, and of course starlings.
Of course.
And then all of your little guys like titmice and finches and house finches and purple finches. Grosbeaks, yeah. They all have a tendency to sneak by and get a dining on this.
Right, and that's because let's say that the chickadees, the nuthatches, and the woodpeckers, they rely normally on both plant and animal sources.
Right.
Usually insects, though. That's why they're picking into the trees like that. Not usually going after the cattle.
No. That's their normal diet is insects and worms and various larvae in the soil and things of that nature. To get their fat and protein. And so if you want to keep them around and you want to keep them healthy, that's what you put out for them.
Right.
You got to be careful, though, with your bird feeders and keep them clean because you don't want to spread disease, and birds have all kinds of various diseases that they can spread amongst each other and creates a situation where it's really pretty unfortunate. There's like about 60 different diseases that birds
Yeah, I'm
carry.
always amazed at how many diseases the birds have, but I guess we go ahead and we have just as many diseases. Hopefully none of these are going to be transferred to us, humans, but it's definitely your bird feeder is just going to be, that's where the birds are going to come and get their diseases from if it's not cleaned.
Yeah, it's when you first start out in early fall getting ready, you want to kind of clean it off with a very, very light bleach solution and let the bird feeder completely dry before putting seed into it. And then during the course of the season, you need to scrape out leftovers and the moldy dust that collects in the corners because that's what can contribute to various molds.
Yeah, and you don't.
funguses.
If you put the bird feeder away for some reason, and then you still got bird seed in it, you just want to toss that away if it's been at any time. Because especially in the heat, it's just we have a humid area, and mold is going to pretty much grow on anything that's living.
Well, they like fresh material. They
Mm-hmm.
like fresh food, just as we do. And cleaning it up is really a very simple process. You can just take and scrape it out and use a toothbrush in the corners or whatever, and keep it clean probably once every week or so when you refill it.
Is that really how often you're cleaning your bird feeder?
If you want to really contribute
No,
to
you, Ray. Is that
Me?
how often
Oh.
you are cleaning?
Actually,
Or your neighbor lady?
yes,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
When I go to refill it, I just take like a paint scraper,
Oh,
a
okay.
spatula, and chisel all the old stuff out and just flick it out on the ground. I didn't always bleach it. Well, I do that about once a month too, just to make sure it was tidied up. But I had two feeders, so I would, while one was being bleached and cleaned, I'd put out the clean feeder.
Wow.
I know.
Rotating bird feeders.
Rotating bird feeders.
Yeah, this honestly, I just I have the birds that show up, and if they're there, that's great.
Well, I had hundreds and hundreds. I mean, they would literally fill the wild hazelnut tree that I had things hanging from, because there was a really nice area behind it of blackberry bushes where they could hide in and be protected. And the blackberries pretty much kept the cats from leaping up.
And that is really one thing that you can talk about with natural bird feeders. I mean, we have these bird feeders that are here in front of us, and we can stock them, but there are actually ways that naturally birds will get their food in the winter time, and so you can plant these plants that are going to feed them and leave them around. One of the biggest things is you've got these perennial plants. You don't have to go ahead and cut them back and immediately. You can leave them there, and that's what the birds are going to eat, and they'll be drawn to it if you have them in your landscape.
Serviceberry, marigolds, anything that has gone to seed late in the fall, you can leave the seed heads on, and that's what birds eat.
Right. So like the
If
snowberry.
they get, that's another good one.
Yeah.
And these are native plants, and that's what the birds would be eating anyway.
Right. One of the other things that I was for the Pacific Northwest in general, I was looking at Canadian goldenrod as one of the things that the birds are liking to eat. It grows about 4 feet tall, and in the late summer, it has those bright sunshine yellow flowers. But they produce a lot of seeds, and that's what the birds are drawn to. So if you go ahead and you leave them seeded, then the birds will go ahead and take care of that for you, and then you can get it back when they're done eating the seeds.
Well, goldenrod is a really neat plant anyway, because the more you trim it, the more it blooms. When it starts blooming in like middle of May,
Right.
you can keep it blooming. Well, I've got some that's actually started to bloom for next spring already, I think, because I took and mowed that sucker right off to the ground level, and it's already starting to make new flowers.
Yeah, and for some reason I thought the goldenrod was an invasive species. Maybe it's because it looks like an invasive species that I'd seen, but they've got those bright yellow flowers that are just gorgeous.
Oh, you sure you ain't thinking about that other yellow flower?
No, exactly, and that's the thing. I think I get them confused, and I can't think of what you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure because they look very similar, and you can see.
Oh, this has a tall, spiky yellow flower,
Okay.
and the leaves are more low-growing, so the flowers come up out of it.
Right.
And it's really a cool-looking plant. There will be some flowers on the stem, but it's primarily the leaves are down around the root cluster. Excuse me.
But it's something that you plant, and the birds are attracted to it because you just leave it there. Another example of something that you might want to go ahead and plant ahead and have the birds attracted to it is a big leaf lupine. You've got the farewell to spring, and the Nukta rose, which is as far as roses go, it's pretty tall. It gets up to 5 feet, and it spreads into a thicket. And that thicket is something that the birds will go ahead and be able to latch onto and hide in, like you were talking about with the blackberries.
Well, crows and jays, they also like acorns.
Ah.
And luckily for them, we have lots of oak trees here in McMinnville, especially over like in Wortman Park. Even if it's just a slightly sunny day, you'll see those big gray squirrels running around collecting acorns.
Sure.
Also good exercise for the dog, but
right.
You know, they eat all winter long. If it gets really, really cold, then they'll just curl up and kind of hibernate with their stash of acorns.
Right.
You know, it's like having a TV dinner for them.
But acorns, it's a good thing because as we've been talking about, certain birds eat certain things, and if you're going to talk about the squirrels that sometimes are evading the bird feeders, they actually have a product that is called Critter Crunch here, and it's wild animal food. Which, so if feeding the birds isn't enough for you, and you want to attract, let's say, oh well, they've got a nice little picture of a raccoon on here, and oh my gosh, bunny rabbits and squirrels and a chipmunk in here. So
it doesn't have a picture of the skunk that's going to join them either.
This is an irresistible blend of seeds and nuts specially designed to attract squirrels and other wildlife. So, like I said, if attracting birds isn't enough, and you don't trust the raccoons to be attracted by your own bird blend, then you go ahead and you get this one, which it seems to have a little bit more corn content than the other bird seeds.
It's more nut-based.
But you've still got the black sunflower seeds, which seem to be the most popular thing to put in there.
Everybody likes that.
There is an allergen statement on here because this is manufactured in a facility that handles peanuts, tree nuts, and wheat.
Yeah.
So again, probably don't want to eat this if you have allergies, especially.
Yeah.
But
and wash your hands after you know.
What do we do with our lives that we have to feed the animals like this?
Well, it brings out the human compassion.
Does it?
Yeah. You can't help but have a certain degree of empathy with the animals that you're feeding.
Oh, that's a good point.
And they're really entertaining.
They're cold right now. They're freezing.
They're not pleased either.
No. We may think that those feathers are out there and keeping them warm, and they've evolved to make that better, but they're probably freezing, right? And then so you go ahead and you give them a teaspoon of beef fat, and they're warmed up.
They're happy for a couple hours.
And then you go ahead and you feed the squirrels so that they're coming around all the time now.
It was good entertainment for my grandson. He'd sat with a pair of binoculars, and the feeder was only about 15 feet from the kitchen window, but the variety of birds that he would see, and then he'd actually look through this little book and check off the ones. And by the end of the winter, he knew probably 12, 15 birds by name.
Wow.
And they're so active and busy that they catch the eye, and they're so colorful that when you get them up close like that and they don't see you actually watching them.
Oh, right.
You see they actually start developing kind of like personalities. Like I had this big blue jay that was like, he was like the overseer. And if the squirrel came down and started hogging the nuts, then the blue jay would just go bat crap on him. He'd fly down and land on the edge of the feeder and peck the squirrel. So that he knew that it was time for him to go back in the tree, I guess.
That is always the fun thing to see, is the interaction of the birds, not only with the interspecies, but intraspecies, because there are dominant bird species over others, and you might be able to see a good bird fight.
And some don't share well.
That's right. Well, we're going to jump into a break again. You're listening to The Root of It. We're on location right now at Bimart in McMinnville, talking about bird feeders today and all of the things that you can do to get them to your house. This is 1260 AM KLYC. Oh, the Linfield game will be at 9:30.
Yep.
Are you going directly from here to there too? Okay. Oh, they're already set up over there. Your duels. Wow.
Sweet. And This is food gathering for YCAP.
Food gathering, yeah, that's a good point.
That's a good point, too.
They're going to stuff the bus, stuff a yellow school bus with poison food like that.
Do you have something I can read on that, or? Okay, fine.
Yeah, I read the ad in the News Register.
Grab that.
Oh,
Ray.
bless your
Thank
heart.
you. Okay.
And get you going from that.
So again, we're right next to the WOW drop-off site. So if you're dropping off your computers, recyclable materials, plastic, TV sets, and so on and so forth, we're just west of the site to do that. And
Okay.
Okay.
the main thing in kind of the redivision of the company. Could explain that a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
A couple years ago, we were bought out by a San Francisco-based company.
So it's
called
6 minutes,
KLYC.
right?
From
All right.
there, we've kind of done a
What
little
time
bit
is
of
it?
restructuring
9:24.
of the company and
9:24?
Yep.
Wow, this is a very fast hour.
with that,
Yeah, this one went by fast.
hone in and centralize our knowledge on the composting operations of it and move forward from there and try to provide the best product that we can and take the cost we can.
Ecology, Northwest Greenland, the sponsor
Do this
of
next thing.
What are your hours?
It's going to be Monday through Friday.
Yep, 6 minutes is going to go by really fast, so
And your phone number again.
we're done with bird feeders.
Yeah, we,
Mention that we're done with that, and then we'll jump into that, and then we'll talk about the game first. Then we'll finish up with bird feeders.
yeah. You go first.
And welcome back, Yamhill County. You are listening to The Root of It right here on 1260 AM. Coming up right now, right next at 9:30, we've got the Linfield football game that is going to be on live.
Right, University of Wisconsin Whitewater.
Wow, and that should be exciting. What do you think, Ray? Let's get that.
Oh, there we go.
There we go up there.
I lost my thing.
That's right. So we've got that coming up at 9:30. We're going to go ahead and hand it off to them. We'll go ahead and finish off with this bird feeders because, again, Ray, thanks for this. This was an interesting enough topic to spend an hour on. But any final thoughts? I know what was worrying you was the 60 known diseases that were in birds that are transmittable from bird to bird.
One that is a really yucky thing for people, though, is West Nile virus.
West Nile.
And do not pick up a dead bird with your bare hands.
Tell your kids not to pick up a dead bird.
Don't bring it in to resuscitate. Nope.
No matter how cute your dog is with it in its mouth, you don't need to handle it.
And it's best if you can get it away from the cat.
Right.
West Nile virus is extremely infectious and does do a lot of damage to both animals and people.
And what is amazing about that virus is that you might get what I consider maybe a few accounts, 24 accounts of that happening in a year, but it is all over the news like it's the biggest catastrophe because they're so concerned about an outbreak happening that they want to nip it in the bud as quickly as possible.
Well, it started back east and has worked its way with mosquitoes and migrating birds. It's in all 48 states now.
Right.
So,
all 48?
Yeah, it's not in Alaska and Hawaii yet.
Oh, but
They are still states, aren't they?
Why
Okay.
is it state?
Yes. We haven't deleted them, I'm pretty sure.
That's right. They're still there. They're still part of
Another
it.
thing that you can do today is come down and help stuff the bus.
Stuffing the bus is something that's why KLYC is right here at Bimart right now. And what are they going to be doing today from... it is from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. right here in the parking lot. Proceeds are going to benefit YCAP, something that is near and dear to our own hearts.
Yeah, non-perishable food items. There's a big blue barrel to throw that kind of stuff in. Unwrapped new toys for Christmas presents.
Right.
And we're going to stuff the bus from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m.
And this is going to benefit our community, the people that are in need during the holiday season. Great cause. And I am looking at the bin, and the store's only been open for a while, for about half an hour now, but we need to get the bin filled.
Right,
So
yeah,
just go
we
ahead
need
and
to fill the
stop
bin.
by. The radio station's going to be doing. We're going to be here all day.
They are.
They are. Are you taking off right now? Is
No,
that
no,
what's
no,
going
no.
on?
I'm not taking off right now, but I will be going home to take care of some items.
Oh, I see. That's right. So what else do we have? We've got 2 more minutes next week. Also, we should remind the people that we are Yamhill County Master Gardeners, part of the Oregon State
True.
University Extension Services, and we have classes that are coming up at the
January 9th.
January 9th?
If you have any kind of a hankering at all to do fun volunteer service for the community and learn about gardening, learn about taking care of your plants, come register for the class. You can go down to the extension office. There's still room for probably 8 to 10 more people.
Mm-hmm. And it's you take what is it, 10 weeks of classes? 13 weeks of classes, one day
Yep.
a week. Some of them are online, so it's not every day that you are.
No.
And it's only one day a week.
Right, from 9 till 3, but half your day will be spent online.
Right.
Every other week.
But and then you go ahead and you start volunteering some hours for us. But the great idea is being able to learn all of the knowledge that you can about gardening, because there is a whole lot to amass. So if you're interested in that, you can go to extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill. That will give you a whole bunch of information. Otherwise, stop by the Extension office, which is 2050 Northeast Lafayette Avenue in McMinnville. And if you want, we have a phone number for you to give them a call at 503-472-3054. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show right now. We will be jumping over to Linfield College right now, and we hope that you've enjoyed it. You've been listening to The Root of It right here on KLYC.
Go Wildcats!
Good job, Ray.
McMinnville Immediate Healthcare, Water Dog RV, Eagle Home Mortgage, Dutch Brothers Coffee, and Extreme Auto Spa. Now, let's hear the voice of the full-time defending Northwest Conference champion Wildcats, Billy Johnson.
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago, the 32 teams had high hopes of locking up the 2013 National Championship for all Division III football schools. Last weekend, the number reduced to